Good morning, it's Wednesday the 21st of December 2011. Welcome to this morning's United Kingdom Talk. A rather exciting day for me today because it's my old school carol service that they hold at a big old church in Knightsbridge, quite near Harrods actually, the Brompton Oratory. So I'm off there for the service just after I finish recording today's show. It's at 2 o'clock. Very much looking forward to singing a few carols. The entire school walks from Fulham to Knightsbridge, where this church is. It's a walk of a pace, a fair old walk, you know. It's about a 40-minute walk. And the whole school files into this huge church, and they have, I think, just a very small section, like 2 or 3 rows, and they're not like whole rows in the centre of the church, near the front for guests. And I rang up the school yesterday, and I said, I've been to a couple of your carol concerts, but the headmaster has changed now. The old headmaster, John McIntosh, who was headmaster when I was at school, I used to ring him and say, can I come down? And he'd say, yep, come down. And now there's a new headmaster, and I thought, I said to this woman on the phone, didn't speak to the headmaster, I said to the personal assistant. All important people have personal assistants, don't they? I think if I had loads and loads of money and I was like famous, right, I think Ronnie, my best friend, would want to be my personal assistant. He'd probably do quite a good job as well, although he would want an arm and a leg for it, you know. It was quite nice to have some personal assistant, you know, running your entire life for you. Would you like that? Or do you like to sort of do things yourself? I actually quite like to be told where to be and at what time. But there's no one telling me to do it. So it doesn't happen. Anyway, yes, I rang up the personal assistant and says, I've left it a bit late. She said, I'm sure I can squeeze one more in. They as soon as you say you're an old boy, you're in. I hate that. Am I an old boy? Well, I'm in comparison to them because I left school about 31 years ago now, you know. And it's wonderful to be sitting in that school with 1,000 of the boys, knowing that you sat in a lot of those benches that they're sitting in now. You know, it's just a nice feeling. And the wonderful thing about going into an old church is that, you know, forget the whole religion thing, is that nothing ever changes, or very rarely does anything change. I mean, quite honestly, I'm looking up at the ceiling now and thinking it could do with a damn good dusting, you know. But there's very, very high ceiling. So looking forward to the carol concert this afternoon at the Brompton Oratory. Emails today then. A bit of reaction coming in on the fine that I got the other day for entering one of those yellow boxes. I was ever so angry yesterday. Did you see me? I watched it back and I thought, should I let that go? And I thought, no, perhaps I do need to let myself go a little bit more. I mean, by the time I've kind of sat in here, I've tried to make myself quite calm and, you know, perhaps calmer than I would normally be. I don't know. I don't think I'm an angry person. It takes an awful lot to get me up. What does annoy me is unfairness of things. You know, when things are unfair. Just before I came up today, I was watching a recording of a BBC programme called Inside Out, and they did clampers, you know, people who clamp your car, and the money they charge again is extortionate, absolutely extortionate. £150 to remove a clamp, £300 to get your car back if it gets towed away, £50 a day storage fee. I mean, it's astronomical, and it's unfair. Why doesn't someone in authority do something about all these things? Anyway, Sean writes on the subject of me being photographed in a yellow box where I got stuck a couple of weeks ago. Dispute it, as if they were watching, they will see what have happened and will usually quash it. Sean, I hear what you're saying. I have disputed parking fines before. Right, and won every time. It's a couple of times I got a parking ticket when I was in Camden Town. Once in Camden, actually it was both times in Camden, and on both occasions I'd put my money in the meter and they'd still given me a ticket. I rung them up and it was immediately quashed. No questions asked, so they know it goes on. But the law states you mustn't enter a yellow box unless the one on the other side has moved out of the way. See, the thing is, like, you know, when the other car starts moving, you automatically, oh, right, it's going now, let's go. And you don't give it a second thought. And that's when it gets you, you see. Of course, it won't happen again. The other thing that can happen is that you're sitting there at that yellow box and the lights have changed and the car behind you starts flashing its lights and hooting. You know. It's just very difficult, very difficult. Sean also writes, I was once forced into a bus lane by a bus on the opposite side of the road as it was trying to get round some traffic cones the council had left in the road. And they tried to give me a ticket for it. I questioned it and it was quashed. You see, so it is possible to do these things. Sean, I just paid. You know, in this case, I just paid and I rung up my mate. Shouted down the phone at him a bit. He shouted back at me because I was just so annoyed. And he says, pay it and move on. So I did. I picked up the phone, had me American Express ready, paid it, and then it's on the shelf, forgotten about. Young Sean. That's old. So not old Sean. Oh, I'll put my foot in it now, innit? That's older Sean. Young Sean. This place is full of Seans at the moment. Has it been a popular name recently? Young Sean says, Chris, I understand your rant yesterday. I think that your £60 or £65 will pay for 3 McDonald's. Will pay for their McDonald's. Yeah, what, the people who sit there. Oh, yeah, you can just imagine them now, don't you? These fat, sad old lonely gits sitting there watching a bank of TV screens, you know, eating another sandwich. You know. They're the sort of person, actually, that in a few years' time will have a heart attack, you know, because they've eaten so much fat. Well, I shan't be sorry. You know, I shan't be crying for them. He says, they will sit there and get fatter and fatter and fatter. They will come to the point where they will break their chair. Lazy guys. Slime, he says. Slime. I like that word, slime. If you can rant like that, I would have rung the traffic warden up and had a rant to him. It's pointless, Sean. You don't have any redress when you ring up the phone and it's all automated. And if you start shouting, they just put the phone down. This is what it's so annoying. The whole thing. He says they must make a few £100 a day. Oh, more than that. Come on, Sean. They make a lot more than a few £100 a day doing that in and around London. Driving in London, you need to have your eyes everywhere. It must have been harder if you were driving a coach or a bus. I would then understand the reason for a fine to be given out. I would imagine, Sean, that buses have slightly different rules. I mean, do you know, it's something I'd always wanted to do, drive a bus. I've never done it. I still think I might do it one day. You can actually buy a bus experience, can't you? But it's like 200 quid. It's not cheap. Where you actually go to drive a bus around a circuit. Nice double-decker bus. By the way, Sean, did you see the new... London has some new buses. Yes, the Route Master bus, a brand new Route Master bus, and I must say, it looks very, very sleek and sexy. A little bit like myself, incidentally. Don't you think I'm looking rather sleek and sexy today? The new London Route Master bus is looking very, very sexy. I don't know if let me see if I've got a picture here to show you, perhaps. All right. The new London Route Master bus. Very, very nice. And so much better than those awful, long, winding, kind of bendy buses. They were dreadful. Something else that the Germans sent across to us, I'm afraid, I do believe. Yes, they knew we... Thank you, Germany, for the bendy buses. Anyway, have they been phased out completely or are they going? I can't remember. But the bendy buses were one of the worst things, and I was a great fan of the Mayor Ken Livingstone. I think it was one of the worst things he did, bring in the bendy buses. They were hideous and so big. They used to take up so much of the road. So a very nice new Route Master bus. How are we doing on time? Is it time to go yet? I don't want to be too late today because I want to get out the door to my old school. One more here from young Sean, who says, hello Chris, me thinks you need a snow machine. What, here in the studio? Can you imagine the mess? He says, I think the studio looks very good. One year, I think, when I was 7 or 8 years old, I hated all vegetables and fruit. Now, I eat a lot of vegetables and fruit, I do. I still do. He wrapped me up a carrot. I got very angry. Who did? Father Christmas? That is a Christmas I will never forget. I threw it across the room. Oh, you get so angry sometimes, Sean. You really do. You must eat your carrots and your peas and your vegetables so that everything goes, but you don't want to sit on that toilet straining, Sean. You can do terrible you can do terrible damage. You must eat fruit and vegetables so it helps the digestive system digest everything through your system. All right? My email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. That's it for the show today. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching and listening. Bye-bye.